Hi creative humans, and welcome back to a new episode of In Just 10 Notes. This series is for total beginners in TouchDesigner who still wants to create beautiful visuals and discover the power of TouchDesigner, even using very few nodes. In this episode, we are going to use a really interesting technique based on conversions. So let's get started. As usual, we are going to put down our 10 nodes network, and then we are going to tweak the parameters to achieve really different visuals. Okay, for starting, I'm gonna put down a grid, but this SOP is gonna change, but I'm gonna just put the grid at first and then exchange for other shapes. Then after it, a transform that we are gonna use to move it and rotate and so on. Then we are gonna need a twist for it. And then I suggest you to put down a null for it, because we are gonna do our first conversion into chop. So we are gonna put down a soft chop to it. But for staying in exactly 10 nodes, I'm gonna need to remove this null and just link it directly with the twist. But just know that it's good practice to put a null before doing this kind of conversions. Then, after this first conversion in soft chop, we're gonna need one further, which is the chop to top, and we are gonna need to tweak this a little bit. Okay, and you can see that with this grid we are achieving this ramp. I think you're already getting where we are going. We are using SOPs, so 3D shapes, and moving and deforming them with the transform and the twist to obtain like top visuals, so textures and patterns. But right now it doesn't seem very interesting, I know, but you will see what we can obtain. Then we will need a transform. Then I'm gonna put down a tile. We are not gonna use that in each visual, so sometimes we are gonna just skip it, but it's in the network, so I'm counting it. Then you will see me doing this a lot in the Just a Node series, putting down a node and connecting both inputs to the previous node. This is really useful to adding colors, adding details, effects in a really fast way. So I'm still gonna use this trick. And then we are gonna add an HSV adjust for tweaking our color. And we are gonna finish with a level. Here again, it would be good practice to finish it up with a null or an out, but we need to stick to 10 nodes for our challenge, and this is just an empty node, it's like a placeholder. So I'm gonna remove, because for the sake of the challenge we are gonna stick to these 10 nodes, but just so you know, it would be good practice to put a null here and there. Our network is down, as you can see. Doesn't look very interesting right now, I know, but we are gonna tweak it immediately, and you will see all the beautiful visuals you've seen in the intro come to life. Okay, so first of all, I want to fix my resolution, because right now we are working with a 20 by 20 pixels, which is not enough at all. And I'm gonna fix the resolution in the transform, because right now we have a 20 by 20 resolution because our grid is 20 by 20. So really quick, if it's your first time with these conversions, we are just like visualizing our SOP, so our 3D object. First of all, we are writing a graph reporting the coordinates of the points. So these are all the x coordinates, the y and the z coordinates, and in x and y you see already the classic grid distribution, while you are seeing something weird happening in the tz, and this is due to the twist. So if I skip it, we have a flat tz, because our grid is flat, so it would be staying on the z plane on a zero level. But as soon as I add a twist, we start seeing something weird happen here. And then with the chop to top conversion, we are taking these coordinates and we are treating them as they are RGB data. So we are converting these coordinates for the point into colors for our pixels. So this is why we have a 20 by 20 resolution to work with at the start, because we have a 20 by 20 here. We have a 20 by 20 grid, so 20 by 20 points. We are converting those points into a graph, so basically visualizing them as a graph, and then converting them to pixels. But we want to output like a full visual, so I'm gonna use the transform here. I'm gonna set a custom resolution. I'm gonna use 1920 by 1080, like standard full HD. If you have the non-commercial, you can just stick to the 1280 by 720. It's gonna be fine. So we are adding a bit of definition here. I didn't use a fit for this operation because in some visuals I also need to use the tile option, which is not working as the tile top we used afterwards, but is more working like if I translate, then I can choose to repeat or mirror it, and it's something that it's not available in the fit node. So this is why I used the transform for changing our resolution. So I'm gonna twist, but I also want to add a lot of points. No, not a lot, a few points. So I'm gonna go for 60 by 80 grid. So our resolution here now looks like this, our conversion. And since we use the fit to square, we are obtaining a 70 by 70. But anyway, we are gonna always go up to a full size, full HD size. Okay, you are already starting to see something here. But now also for the transform, I wanna start adding some movement to it. So I'm gonna use the classic elseTime.seconds expression. I think I'm gonna go by 20 here. I'm gonna copy, hit here and leave it as is, and also add here, but a bit slower. And let's start with it and then see what happens. And also I'm gonna translate with all the coordinates to 111 point position, so you see how much more intricate, I want to say, our twist is getting. Here I just forgot that I want to output my aspect to the resolution, not to the input, otherwise we are staying in this square format that I don't like. And for these visuals we are already skipping the tile, we are not gonna use that. Okay, so now we have an interesting base, I would say, so it's time to have fun with it. So I wanna increase a lot the period because I don't like all these kind of really little traces happening here. So I'm going up to something like 30 in the period, so it's more uniform. Then I don't want any harmonic for the same reason. I'm gonna increase a bit my amplitude. And also in the output, in this case, I just want to have my noise and I want it colored. Okay. Now I'm gonna fix a bit the colors. If you want to know the exact seed I used for the preview, it's 1037, but there are so many interesting variations you can achieve. So I encourage you to, I like it, to explore it on your own. Then this time we can also skip the color adjustment, but if you want, you can use to further change your color palette. Okay, this is more similar to the one in the preview. I like it really much. You can enhance the saturation and the value, so you can tune the colors as for your taste. And same thing for the level. I'm just gonna tweak a bit the gamma and the contrast, but this is totally up to you. And here we are almost done. We can decide to fix a bit the speed of the rotation, because I think I like it a little bit more fast, and also it's a bit too like stretched on the horizontal, so I'm gonna like scale a little bit on the Y, so we are getting a bit more big pattern on the Y. And this is the result of the first visuals. You can always play a lot with the colors, with the noise. It's really satisfying trying to find like cool colors combinations. There are a lot of interesting variations. Okay, I'm gonna stop right now. As you can see, just with putting down a grid, applying just a rotation and a twist, we are obtaining a super interesting output pattern that is representing the change in the coordinates of our 3D object, but it's a super cool pattern moving that TouchDesigner can generate really easily with just a couple inputs. So let's head to the next visual. Okay, we are back. For the second variation of this network, we are gonna, as I anticipated you, we're gonna exchange our 3D shape for a sphere. So I'm like deleting our grid and adding a sphere. This is already so cool. Like it's so inspiring. I already see something happening here. So this time we are gonna use the same rotation and same translation in the transform, but we need to change the rows and columns for the same principle that we use for the grid. Oh, so many cool things happening. Okay, but the values I selected are 40 and 80, but obviously feel free to explore on your own, pause the video, get inspired, get creative. Okay, for the twist, I went back with the standard roll-off and stayed with the same axis and strength of the twist here. Nothing happening here on those nodes. Okay, this time we are gonna use our tile, but I just want to repeat on the x-axis and not on the y, and I'm gonna do a reflect, so we have this kind of mirror effect. We can skip the noise because the noise is giving colors and some kind of liquidy effect that I feel that it's already there on its own, so I'm just skipping it. So as you can see, if I get correctly, we skipped 2 nodes actually, so we were actually using just 8 nodes to get that super cool pattern moving, and here we are gonna skip the noise, so you just need 9 nodes to get to this in TouchDesigner. Now I'm putting all the color adjust back to the starting values, and I'm just gonna offset a bit the colors to my taste. I went to something like that for the preview, but I already changed my mind, I think. So I guess I want something a bit warmer, something like this. It's totally up to you, honestly. And also I am gonna enhance a bit the saturation. Too much. I also like going more pastel-y. Okay, choosing colors, it's always so difficult. In the previous episodes, I always like totally skipped experimenting with colors and just stick to my preview parameters. But I don't know, it's natural for me to play with colors, so I decided to don't cut those parts. And here we are. Honestly, I just enhanced a little bit more the contrast, because I like it to go really graphic here, to have pretty defined switching between the different colors blobs. But here we are. This is so cool and could probably be a super interesting starting point to further variation. Probably with I would start playing with the displays and see what happens. But here we are, just 9 nodes for this one. Let's head to the next one. Straight in the next one. This time we are still use the sphere, but I'm changing the twist. First of all, we're gonna change the axis of the sphere, and we are gonna do a really more like harsh, strong twist, something like that. That if you see in the 3D, it's a lot more twisted. And also I'm gonna change a little bit the roll-off. I really like this dots effect that is going on. Okay, I'm gonna fix the tile. I just want a bit of overlapping to make the two parts melt into each other more. But the special thing here is the noise, as you probably guessed. Here I'm going back to a standard period of 2. I'm using no harmonic spread at all, and we don't need any of that. I'm going to 0 exponent to have really defined like borders between the colors. I'm gonna lower also the offset. I'm gonna reset the amplitude. This is back to here. And also I'm gonna put 2 harmonics. I want it monochrome. I'm using the base seed. And here the interesting part is that I'm changing the output noise to this one. I'm changing the output noise to input plus noise, so that we get this super cool effect. And I personally prefer the starting colors, so I'm gonna skip the color adjustment on this one. And also for the level, I'm not doing much, but something I wanna fix for last is that the pattern is a bit like collapsed because of the stretching into this format, and I don't want that. So I'm scaling back on the y-axis so that it gets a bit bigger. And I think also something different, a little bit different is happening in the starting shape. Let me check. Oh yeah, we don't need all these rotations. That's too much for my taste. I'm just gonna do more on just one axis. And I'm gonna also reduce a bit the resolution of this sphere, because I want bigger repetitions of this pattern. And we are done. This super interesting graphic pattern, I would say, it's ready. Okay, now for a good one. We are gonna switch the shape again for a torus this time. And I want it oriented on the z-axis. And here I'm gonna put, I actually canceled those. Okay, I'm gonna make it slower again and reapply the rotation, the constant rotation to all the axes, similar to as we did before. And also I'm gonna change the twist. We are going back to the for a y-axis and for a more reasonable, I would say, strength of 230. And okay, this kind of roll off that it seems crazy, and probably is, but I really liked the effect on it. Also on these torus, sorry, probably looking at my mouse it's like impossible, but I am on the torus node and I'm gonna fix the resolution to 100 rows and 25 columns, so we get this kind of really defined change between the parts that are twisting and the ones that are not twisted, I guess. Again, I think I already disagree with myself, with the myself version of a couple hours ago, because okay, I'm gonna stick to the original plan. Okay, I'm not gonna change plans on the rush. So we're gonna fix the noise first of all here, and I want it not input plus noise in this case, but I want with a multiply. And for the noise itself, I'm gonna use a bigger period of 5, less harmonics, a little bit of a harmonic spread. I think this is the standard value, maybe. I'm going back to the exponent. I'm gonna light it up a bit, and also I'm gonna give it a bit more amplitude. Okay, here we are. Also in the level I want much more contrast. Okay, something like that. This is already almost 1, and I really like what I'm seeing right now, that what is happening, but actually in the preview I didn't use the tile, like I skipped it, and I was so committed to have this pattern horizontally that I rotated it and then slightly translated to have it centered on the screen, like this main glitching part. I want it to be centered. I don't think I longer agree with myself, as I already said, but this is what I showed you in the preview, so this is what I'm gonna show you. And also I think I switched, I'm gonna reset it again, and I had, yeah, the colors were something like this. I switched them a bit. Oh, I forgot, we also want to switch the monochrome. It's not making so much different, but some difference that I notice. I'm sorry, I really can get peace out of it. You decide what versions do you prefer, because I prepared my parameters with the horizontal versions that I have here right on my second screen, but right now I prefer so much getting with the vertical ones and the tile effect. Let me know in the comments which one you prefer, because I can't decide. But anyway, we are done. We prepared our first visuals. Yeah, the first one. It's really cool. It's a bit glitchy. I think not everyone would appreciate this kind of glitchy mess, not glitchiness, happening here, but I do personally. So let's head to the next one. Okay, for the new visuals, we are going back to a sphere. Here we are. And this time we are gonna finally use these like dots patterns that it creates. And I'm leaving everything as it is in the sphere. And in the rotation, sorry, it's difficult for myself looking at the, like, finding my own mouse. I can't imagine what it would be like in the recorded video. I hope it's not too much of a headache. Okay, we are just gonna rotate on the x-axis and let the others be 0. Let's also fix the twist. We are gonna put down the roll-off to a more calm and reasonable value, while going completely mad on the strength. Here we are, completely cuckoo. Back to the transform, I'm doing the same thing, like I'm balancing the stretching on the, I'm balancing the stretch from the square to the rectangle proportions, scaling on the y direction. I think I'm leaving everything else the same. Yeah, I guess. This time I'm actually gonna skip the tile, not just saying that I would and then not doing it, as I did previously. Not gonna touch the period, leave it as it is. I'm gonna increase just a bit the harmonics and fixing a bit harmonic spread and harmonic gain. A lot of amplitude, no offset at all, and kind of crazy exponent. And we are starting to be where I want. And also, okay, turn on the monochrome, and in the output too we are going back to input plus noise, because I want to have some white colors here, because I want to go more pastely with colors combination here, and I want to go more pastely with colors here. And to get that, we are also tweaking. I am reducing the range, and in the level I'm gonna enhance again the contrast to something like this. Okay, I found what was getting the difference. It's the saturation multiplier, because here I went really low with it to get more pastely. Here we are. You can always tweak colors to your preference. Yeah, that's good. Okay, that is ready, and we are ready for the next visual. Okay, now we are doing something really cool, really graphic. And first of all, the magic here is that instead of interpolating our pixels here, I want to go for the nearest. And also here, we don't want to interpolate, we are going for nearest. And now we need to fix something up. Okay, first of all, in our sphere, I want to have like those columns, but more definition. So I'm going for 50 rows, and then I'm gonna increment my columns. And here I already tried, and with 107 I can have my columns patterns, because I prefer the columns instead of this kind of diagonal pattern that I get with 106 and 7. And I really love seeing these pixely curves creating in colors difference in the columns. So this is our starting patterns, but as you can see, we are having a mess right now. So just for now, I'm gonna skip the noise. Okay. to have a bit of calm in the background of the screen, and then we're gonna fix. Back to our sphere, I also want to change a bit the radius this time. These are just the values that I see that I liked most for how the curves are gonna appear and move in these columns right here. So our rotation is not on this axis anymore, but on this one. Okay, and I translated a lot more. The translation in this case just imply how the twist is happening, and also for the colors, because the further you go on the positive quadrant, the lighter you are going with colors, while the more close to the origin or more into the negative quadrant of the space you are going, the more darker the colors get. Because if you translate these coordinates into RGB values, you immediately understand that the bigger the values, the lighter the RGB color. For the transform, I don't want to scale anything here. Okay, let's fix this twist. First of all, we go back to 80, and with the 1.2 roll off, and now we have this beautiful pattern moving. I don't like it to start like we have our 3 columns, but it starts with this little piece that I don't like to have it. So I'm just translating slightly, of these values, this value backwards, so we can just remove it. And I'm using an hold option here to compensate for the lost pixels, I would say. We are using just the normal scaling, and we are tiling here because I love these columns and I want to have more of them. So I'm just repeating the pattern, but I don't want to reflect it, and also I don't want any overlap because I want it just to repeat the 3 columns once again. And this time for the noise, I'm gonna disconnect the second input this time, and I just want it to reset it. So we start clean. I'm gonna turn the monochrome off. I want a so much bigger period here, something like 30. No harmonics at all, so this also doesn't count. And for the output, I want to multiply for the noise, the input for the noise, because I want to get more contrast for this pattern. And then I'm really happy with the resulting colors from the preview that you've seen. And for those, I used these values that I'm gonna put it exactly the same back. So it's all the standard values and just this 110 offset. And also just a little bit of tweaking in the level. I'm going back with the full range, and I'm just gonna decrease a bit the brightness and get back to a 1.1 contrast. Okay, for the noise I used this seed 7, to get exactly these color combos that I love. I'm going to remove this starting rotation that we don't need. So we get just the curves moving around. And this is probably the simplest of all the patterns, but I really enjoyed it. I hope you like it too. Let me know if you are more for the interpolated versions, or also for you this pixely graphic one and are really hypnotic to look at. Okay, and we are done. This is the last visual. of this in Just a Nodes episode that I'm gonna share here on YouTube. There are 3 more variations with 3 more different visuals that I'm gonna share on my Patreon. I will be really happy if you will support me there and go check the rest of the visuals there. It really helps me continue to explore and record my tutorials. Otherwise, we will see in the next tutorials. Thanks so much for watching and stay creative. Bye!